Hello, and welcome to part two of our introduction to our course. Let's get started. In this particular section, we're going to talk about Georgia View. We're going to talk about the major elements of our course homepage and also take a look at the syllabus and assignments. Okay, if you have never logged into Georgia View or just as a reminder, you want to go to Unify to get to this page, or you can type in the link here and it'll take you to Georgia View. You're going to sign in and select your course. For the purpose of explanation, I'm going to use the Technology for Teachers 5202 as the example for navigating around Georgia View. Your course homepage may look something like this, may differ a little bit, but generally you're going to find the same things on your course homepage so you can access your information and content. So let's get started. Up here, you all are familiar with the email. I'm not going to spend time here. These are the general menu items that you're going to find up at the top. Course homepage, by clicking here, it's always going to take you back to this page. So wherever you are in Georgia View, if you need to get back to this page, you're going to hit course homepage. This is going to be probably the most useful menu item for you. This has just everything that you're going to want to focus on. The main three would be, of course, your assignments, the content, meaning the instruction part piece, and then finally, a lot of my students like to use this just to access your quizzes from here as opposed to having to go into the content menu. So let's spend a few minutes just going to content. And the reason I'm going to content right now is because this is where your syllabus and the scavenger hunt is located. But let's take a look at the syllabus. So I'm going to go into content, and my internet is moving slightly slow this evening. Here we go. All right. So notice over here is your table of contents, and under your table of contents, you're going to find the assignments. So this week, we're going to do Module 1. Here is the due date. So this would be due at August 28th, 11:59 p.m. It started yesterday at 6 a.m. And what's due, we'll talk specifically about that in just a moment, but I want to take a look right now at the course syllabus. Again, this is 5202, but generally I set my syllabi up in the same fashion so that you can find what you need easily and I can remember where I put things. So just kind of ignore where it says 5202. Of course, it's going to be a little different for you, but it's generally the same. The first thing that I would suggest that you do, and I'm sorry about that, is look at this first little paragraph. This talks about what the course is about. It always intrigues me at with students who don't take the time to just kind of familiarize yourself as to what it is you're supposed to be learning. What is it that you're supposed to get out of this course? And by the title of this course, and those of you who are in 3321, this is an introductory course. It's technology for teachers. One group of you are in the special ed area, the other just my major middle grades teachers and teachers in general ed. So we have a different mix, different numbers for the different groups, but we're all learning the same thing. Basically, we're going to take a look at some research. We're going to look at what it means to be a teacher and hopefully get the perspective as well as a student in the digital age, and how we can use technology to help students learn, to encourage students to learn, to motivate students to learn. And we just don't want to put students in front of technology. We want to put resources in front of them that are going to encourage higher order thinking, problem solving, creativity. And we kind of want to get away from, in terms of the technology making them learn, because that's not really what it is. The technology is really just there to support. It's there to support what the teacher does, it's there to support what the student's learning. So we want to blend those two. So this course at the end of the semester will hopefully have prepared you to go into classrooms and start to look at integrating technology. It's not as easy as it sounds, but at least you will have a level of comfort you'll be willing to explore a little bit more, and you'll start to implement some things that I think you will find useful and your students will find useful as well. So we're going to scroll on down, and please read through this. I'm only going to hit some of the high points, and then we will come back over the course and look at some of these things. Your course goals, I'm not going to read through that. You'll find that when we go through the modules, they will go they will align with those course goals. These are some of the outcomes that specifically we want to encourage and focus on. I want to bring your attention to the fourth bullet here where it says you're going to be able to use this basic set of technology tools to integrate with instruction. Video, audio, Web 2.0 tools, visual graphic elements. And this always make students realize once we get into these projects that, hey, I didn't know as much as I thought I did about video and audio, and why is that important. So we're going to really be focusing on this component. So in your syllabus, a little further down, which I'll show you in just a minute, it talks about some of the technology resources that you're going to need to have available. Here, log into your course at least 3 times a week. That's at a minimum. I strongly suggest, as I talked about in an earlier video, you're going to want to do that every day, 5 days a week. I'll give you the weekends off. But generally, you just want to make sure you're not waiting to the last minute. Thirdly, do not procrastinate, and please do not fall behind. It is so difficult to catch up, especially on a lot of these technology projects. So please stay caught up. There's not a text per se for this class. However, I will be providing you with several different reading materials that you're going to need to preview and hopefully learn from in the coming weeks. So look out for that. Georgia View is our home. It is our classroom. So learn what you can about it and become proficient, because that will definitely make your life easier. Some of you have probably already purchased live text. If you have not, you're going to want to get that. We will be uploading several of our assignments and projects into live text that goes that aligns with what the PSC requires, so that they know that you are learning what you need to learn in order to become effective and great teachers. So please make sure that you take care of that. I would strongly suggest that in this digital age, if you do not have access to Dropbox or Google Drive, those are free storage, cloud storage spaces that will be your best friends in this course and others. So I will provide some information a little later about how to set up a Dropbox or Google Drive if you need that. Some of you probably already have that. That's great. Please do not rely on just your hard drives or your flash drives or even external hard drives. You want to make sure you have something that you can back up to. Things happen. It happens every semester. People lose things, and it's painful because you have to recreate all of those artifacts, and you don't want to get down to the last couple weeks of class and having to redo things. So make sure you're saving these things in very good places. Your technology requirements. These are minimum requirements. You may find that there are other tools out there that work for you, or that's going to help you do what needs to be done for whatever project you're working on. But these are at a minimum, so make sure that you are familiar with those. And if you have difficulty, you can always let me know. I believe we do have access to, say, iPads or other resources that our students can check out. So let me know and I'll get that information to you. I want to bring your attention to late and missing work. Again, a lot of what we do is going to be building on previous modules, previous weeks, projects. We have a really big project in this class, and it needs to be something that you're working on continuously and not falling behind on. Having said that, it is near impossible to do well if you are consistently late with work, because that means you're behind and you're not keeping up with the course. In very, very rare and extenuating circumstances will I begin to accept late work. Things happen. Don't get me wrong. Things happen. And I am going to be most supportive in those instances. But please, please, please keep in mind that it is very difficult to catch up, and it is very stressful, and it is not worth it. So please stay on top of things. Things happen. If something happens, please don't be afraid to reach out to me and let me know what's going on. But we want to try to not be late, not miss assignments. Discussion boards, I'm going to actually provide you with some more detail about discussion boards as we get into probably module 3. So read through this, be familiar with it, and then we'll go over it at a later time. Netiquette, that is basically online etiquette. Most of you are familiar with that if you use email at all. So you might want to read through that and just make sure that you understand what the policies are. I am so sorry for scrolling past this. I want to bring your attention to the additional policy number 1. Please, please, please submit all of your work electronically through Georgia View. There are going to be times when we have technical difficulty and you may not be able to access it, or maybe you're having issue. The reason that I want it through Georgia View is it archives it, and once it's there, I can always go back and access it, make copies, and have on record for whatever information I have to provide for the PSC certification. So please make sure it's uploaded there. If you have trouble, this is where I need you to contact me, call me, email me, and let me know what's going on, and we'll make arrangements as to how we're going to make that happen for you. But please make sure that it gets to Georgia View for submission. And please go back and read through the rest of this. I'm not going to uh, spend time with that because you all can read. All right. Just real quickly, there are your grade procedures, the topics that we'll cover, and I'll go into each of these in more detail as we get ready to prepare for those. But I did want to just give you a general overview of what we will be working on. These are some wonderful, wonderful exercises to help you prepare. I'm not going to go into detail here because I'm going to talk about them individually, as I said, once we get to them. And the university policies, I'm going to let you read through this. This is should be pretty familiar for you for all classes, but I do want to remind you to pay close attention to the drop date. If you need to drop, you want to make sure you adhere to that so that it doesn't affect your GPA, especially those of you who are looking for HOPE or financial aid eligibility. So make sure you mark that on your calendar if you are planning or think you may need to drop. Incomplete grades, those are only issued in very rare, extenuating, documented circumstances. The policy for Georgia College is, in order for a student to be able to receive an I in a course, you have to be working in that course with a passing grade up until the time that whatever occurred or has happened uh, makes you have to stop progress in the course. So basically, what that means is you can't get to the end of the semester and you haven't turned in assignments since, say, midterm and asked for an I. The way that the dean will look at that is the last day that you submitted work and how quickly we were alerted to the fact that there was a problem. So unless it's something major that's totally uncontrollable, I would strongly steer you away from even the thought of that, unless it's something that we can't, um, unless something arises that we have to address. So basically, we'll work through that if the time comes. Hopefully, nobody will have to worry about that. But just keep in mind that, um, you know, when we do issue those I's, it has to be something that's documented and we know about before the end of the semester. Please make sure that you read through the rest of the university policies and make note of anything that you may need to keep for future reference. Okay, your course standards, all of the coursework that we're doing in the course is based on the Georgia Professional Standards Commission, the ISTE, which we'll talk about, the Instructional Technology Standards, and NETS, and that's all a part of the course, and we'll talk about that a little bit as well. All right, so this is the syllabus. So I am going to give you a moment to take a small break, and when we come back, we're going to look at the assignments that are due for the next period.